To Awaken Truths with a special episode for y'all today.
We have a special guest. We have Miss Marla in the house. We will definitely link all of her information in the description box because she also has a YouTube channel, okay? But we're just going to kind of get into it at this point. Okay?
All right,
sounds good.
All right, Marla. So how long were you a witness for?
So I was born in, so from the time I was an infant all the way up to adulthood.
Okay. Adulthood, what age?
So I started to like fade around COVID, so I was like 25.
COVID did damage.
Yeah.
Telling you.
And then I want to say last year is when I found out all the truth. So I was 28 at the time.
Okay.
All the truth.
All the truth about the truth.
Okay.
Real truth.
A friend of mine sent me an XJW video and I was scared. I was like, what is she sending me? And I clicked it because I had already been like fading out and questioning things. So I watched it and that just started the whole spiral of watching even more XJW videos and like finding out everything was a lie. You know?
Yes, that's so true. Okay, so do you remember what XJW video she sent you or what it was about?
I don't remember her name, but it was a girl talking about how strict it was for her growing up. Like going to conventions and doing nothing but JW stuff all the time.
Right.
And I grew up very strict too. And I just thought it was my parents, you know, because my dad's a military brat and, you know, everything he said goes. So I figured it was just, and I thought, okay, it's just me and my sister having to deal with this. But when I saw that video, I was like, oh my God, this is a thing in the witness world?
That's crazy. Yeah. So how far back does it go in the family? Is it generations of it?
No, actually, my parents are first generation. So
Okay.
I was second generation.
Oh. Okay, so you said your dad was military.
Yes.
How does that work?
Well, no, he was a military brat. So his dad was in the army. And so he was used to, excuse me, a strict upbringing.
Okay.
And he just raised us the same way, basically.
Right.
But, you know, being a Jehovah's Witness is going to be even more strict on top of that.
Yeah, I guess that is a natural, like, way to go. It's like you went from strict, now stricter.
Right.
Okay. So no holidays, no birthdays.
No holidays, no birthdays, no nothing. My parents didn't let us hang out with anybody. Barely not even witnesses.
You hear that? You hear that, trolls? Okay, because we have so many people who be acting like, oh, Jehovah's Witnesses are allowed to hang out with worldly people?
No.
Who?
No. Not if you following the rules.
Okay.
No.
No. We hung out with worldly people, but that's because we bent the rules. You know what I'm saying? But that's not something that is pushed. That's not something that's allowed. And I also find that, like, some Jehovah's Witnesses take things to the extreme. So, like, they'll say one thing and then they do the extreme of that.
Right. My dad was an elder, so, you know, we were at a higher standard. He used to preach to me all the time. 1 Corinthians 15:33. Do not be misled. Bad associations for useful habits.
I hate
Drilled
that
into my head. So.
I hate that scripture.
To this day.
You kind of touched on it a little bit about like what kind of witness you were, your family was. So you had to be like exemplary, basically.
Everything. Make sure every meeting. Did you study your Watchtower? Did you highlight your answers? You got at least 2 answers ready to raise your hand. You know, if we went to the meeting and I didn't raise my hand, I see you didn't raise your hand last night.
For real.
Like, you didn't have any answers prepared? Like, man, I just didn't want to do it.
You don't want to talk all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, gotta get at least 10 hours in field service every month. You know.
Oh, he was by the book for real.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
He was not playing with y'all.
No. And then we used to have field service at our house. So.
Oh, so that's pressure on y'all.
Couldn't miss a day. Didn't matter if I was sick. I would legit have to get up and still meet with the group. Even they might have let me stay home, but I still had to get up.
Yeah.
And meet with the group. And present like I was gonna go.
Right.
That's crazy. So did you have to get baptized at an early age and everything too?
I got baptized when I was 11.
Wow. That happens a lot when you're like an eldest kid.
11.
It's like the expectation put on you.
Yep. It was a lot of pressure because, like I said, my dad has been an elder pretty much my whole life. He still is now. So it was like, you got to get baptized. You got to get baptized so you can go to paradise. And at 11, you're going to do what your parents say.
Definitely.
So.
And at 11 years old, you don't even know what you want for the rest of your life. You don't know, and all you know is like the small bit of information that was given to you, and then it's like you're just supposed to live the rest of your life under those standards.
Right.
At 11.
No.
Right.
You can't even decide what you want to do as a career at 11 years old. You can't decide anything for yourself at 11.
No. Damn near not even your clothes you got on.
Right.
Literally at 11.
But you want me to get baptized.
That is crazy.
So what did your congregation have a lot of people your age that were like getting baptized?
That's the thing. We kind of had a congregation that was older. So I was one of the only younger kids. So I think that made a difference.
You on a microscope. Yeah.
So,
that sucks. Did you have a lot of Jehovah's Witness friends?
Not at all. That's what I'm saying. Me and my sister grew up very isolated because we grew up in a congregation that didn't have any young people. So,
So you never got to see the wild witnesses?
I mean, when I was like 17, I remember there was a party. Like Kingdom Hall is in multiple congregations. So the neighboring congregation had younger people.
Yeah.
So one time, I think I had to be like 16, 17. There was one party or gathering that they call it that we went to. And all the adults were upstairs and all the kids were downstairs. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. And none of the adults came down. So that was one time I did see it. Was a little, I was like, oh. I was in the corner like, I wasn't used to it socially. I just, I had never been around kids my age that much. But outside of school and Kingdom Hall, like when you go to the convention and stuff. So I was in the corner not really saying anything, but I was seeing people like dancing and doing all kinds. I was like, oh, this is different.
Yeah, that's not what we learned at the hall.
Right.
Yeah.
So
did it excite you a little bit? Were you like, oh, maybe I could do this?
I was nervous.
You were nervous.
Yeah. Like I said, I wasn't used to it.
Yeah.
I grew up very socially awkward. I'm still a little socially awkward. So,
It's common though, like in the organization too. Did you grow up here in Atlanta?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure did.
See, whenever we were coming up, like, I remember at first it was like, okay, you're just kind of hanging out with like the kids in your hall, and then it would stretch out to like, okay, now you're hanging out with like kids in your circuit, and then it stretched out to like kids in different states. And what we found is that witness kids are wild.
Okay.
They're wild.
Yeah.
They're wild. I don't care what nobody says, but they are wild. And we've been to parties where it's like no adult supervision whatsoever. And this is in like our teenage years, you know what I mean? So it was definitely that, and that's why we say all the time, like, people are people, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, like, just the same things that happen out in the world, you know what I mean, are same things that happen under these constraints. That's why there's shows like Breaking Amish and stuff like that, because
I used to love that show.
Me too, because it felt like the witness world. Like, it was because they have similar tactics and all that, and they get shunned from their communities. I used to love that show. I love to see their transformation of like experiencing new things.
For sure.
Teenagers are wild.
Teenagers
you just
are
put them in
wild.
this box with this label, Jehovah's Witnesses, but they gonna do what teenagers do. Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah. Okay, so coming up, did you ever end up like getting reprimanded or in trouble or anything?
For sure.
For real?
Yeah. When in high school, you go through a transition of trying to figure yourself out and all of this. So I did. I got reproved. When I was like 17.
Okay.
And then right after I graduated high school, I kind of amped it up a little bit. And I was, out there doing what I do with the people I was doing it with. And I had just developed a friendship with another witness girl. And we were the same age. We got close. And she found out, she knew about the things that I was doing. Because we both were like doing the same things. But her conscience got to her. and she went to the brothers.
I knew that was coming.
And, you know, she got reproved as well. But they asked her while she was in her elders meeting, do you know what Marla's doing? What is Marla doing in that? Because, and, you know, elders are gonna, what's the word?
They like the police.
They pry.
Yeah. So they made her feel guilty. They were like, you know, you'll have blood on your hands if you don't tell us what she's doing, because she won't make it to paradise. She'll die in Armageddon. And she's told me she was crying because she was like, I don't want her to die. I don't want her to, you know, not make it to paradise. So she snitched on me.
Yeah, that's a real thing. That's a real thing.
This interrogation room.
Yeah, it is. And the questions they ask me there.
I know, so many details. Like, bro, why do you gotta know all that? I told you what I did. That's it. Period.
Yeah, like
period.
It's A to B. That's it. Like, you don't need
all the in between, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I got called into the elders room at the back room. I'm sorry, we know it's called the black. I know some people call it the B room.
The B room, the blue room, the back room.
We used to call it the
back room.
Yeah.
So, and then they asked me, they were like, are you sorry for what you're doing? I was like, no.
Wait, this sister back home, she was one of those, you know, the worldly witnesses, they called her. She told that, I'm not gonna say what happened, but it was some wild stuff. They asked her if she was sorry, and she said, no, I busted it wide open. Like, she told the elders that, like, to this day, and I was just like, and she got this fellowship, but she was just she was just like, but that was just like, some people just gonna be straight up like, my mom was like that. She still disfellowship, but she told them like, I'm not sorry, like.
Yeah, and you know what? They do have that kind of I was gonna say environment, no, but they have a history of doing that, like getting other people to snitch on witnesses. Like they kind of implement that and plant that in all the witnesses' head, is that you'll be blood guilty. Because my mom, when she got disfellowshipped, it was the same thing. She got snitched on by somebody because she was smoking cigarettes. So she got snitched on for that.
Cigarettes?
Yeah, she got snitched on for that. But she was doing other stuff too. But that's what she got snitched on for, was the cigarette, by this older sister that lived in the same neighborhood.
I seen her smoking a cigarette and told, hey, mind your business.
Right.
Yeah.
I ain't got nothing to do with you.
Okay, mind your business.
That's crazy. No, I remember I wasn't baptized. I was like kind of studying. And see, this is why you gotta trust your gut. I knew then, when I'm hanging with these dudes, some of them was cool. And let me think, who was it? They was all kind of cool, but the one, he was just now about to get baptized and stuff. We was hanging out and going to a hookah lounge. This is like 2012.
Yeah.
Like, man, let's go to the hookah lounge. So we riding in this van, and something told me like, don't smoke hookah with them. So I just didn't smoke it, but we hanging. My cousin, he wasn't baptized. He had some girls from school he recognized, so we chilling, and that's that. This goofy Mason be watching her. So Mason, you remember this story? Mason bragging to somebody at the hall like, yeah, man, we kicked and went to a hookah lounge. And man, somebody told, and we all got dragged into it. And I'm like, I ain't baptized. They can't do nothing to me.
Right.
But the fact that elders was calling around about some 18, 19-year-olds going to a hookah lounge. But it's the police.
It's a problem. Me and my sister got in trouble for going to Cheesecake Factory at like 11 p.m. It was late, and my sister was younger, like maybe 12 at the time. And it doesn't matter the ages though. It's the freaking Cheesecake Factory. And and this is what we used to do. Like, as Jehovah's Witnesses, you kind of try to find like fun in any avenue, right? So like, you try to find like wholesome fun. So me and like our girls, we would get dressed up and we would go out to the town, and we weren't old enough to drink, you know what I'm saying? So like, we would just go out and go to restaurants, you know what I'm saying? That's it. So somebody ended up seeing us, another witness, and I don't know what transpired, but all I know is one of the elders called my mom, and we had a whole shepherding call about, it's really not good for you guys to be out late at night, and but like, dang, you guys are so controlling.
They are very controlling.
Too controlling. Like, we weren't doing anything. We were just out at 11 p.m. at the Cheesecake Factory eating cheesecake, being cute. That's it.
Y'all was there too.
What's the problem?
Yeah.
Right, and some they were there too. So what's the problem? You know.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the elders meeting.
Yeah.
Whenever you said you weren't sorry, what happened?
They was like, oh, okay. Well then, you know, they were like a little stumbled. Like they didn't expect me to say it because you guys.
You were so good. Yeah.
My whole life,
right.
I've been by the book basically.
Right.
So, yeah, they was like, well, in that case, you gonna be disfellowshipped. So there was no question about it.
How'd you feel about that?
I was about to ask that.
I didn't care at the time.
Yeah.
I really didn't, because I was over it at that time.
Yeah.
You know, when you get to that point, it's just like, okay, whatever.
It's too much suppression of you know, you don't get to make the same mistakes as like other kids, and sometimes it's not even about mistakes. It's about being able to explore who it is that you are or who it is that you can be. You know, like what your interests are. If you're constantly being told like this is the only thing that you can do, this is what you can have interest in, it like boxes you into this tiny box. It doesn't feel good.
Right.
So you got this fellowship.
I did.
How old were you?
I was 18. Just finished high school.
Okay.
So perfect timing, really.
But you know, it didn't last long because I did get pregnant and I was still living with my parents, and you know that was a whole ordeal. My dad had stepped down from being an elder.
Wow.
So that was a lot of pressure. They legit stopped talking to me. Like I'm living in their house. They walk straight past me like they don't see me. All that. And I got pregnant. And at that point, you know, you're going to need help eventually. But even all through my pregnancy, they still weren't talking to me.
Are you serious?
Absolutely.
Ridiculous.
They were not talking to me whatsoever in their own house.
Were they forcing you to go to the meetings? Or?
For sure. I still had to go.
Yeah, that's a common thing. Like if you live in the house, they force you to go.
Oh, yeah. I could never just stay at home.
So who were you talking to?
Nobody. Well, I take that back. I had my sister. I have an older sister. She's 6 years older than me. She was also disfellowshipped at that time. So I would text her every so often. And she would come pick me up and take me places. But that was it.
That's crazy. How long were you disfellowship for?
That was only a year. Because then I had my son.
That's a long year, though.
Yeah, it
was a very long year. And my parents started to come around, I guess, because I had a kid. And you need help at that time. It was still strained. Like, they would come up to me and just take my son and help me. But it was never, like, any regular conversation.
Right.
So, at that point, you know, you're like, well, maybe I just need to do the right thing and get reinstated. And so I can have my family back and all that.
And life can be back to normal. Yeah. Life was so much better before.
Right. So, I got reinstated a year later at 19.
And that's it's like purposely done like that to punish you.
Yeah.
Especially that what your situation was the perfect circumstances for that, because it's like your parents already added to the isolation.
Right.
So then once they stopped talking to you, it was like fully isolation, you know? And I think a lot of times where Jehovah's Witness parents can lack is that they don't prepare you for the real world. They kind of keep you in this like little bubble as if like nothing is going to happen to you in this organization, and that's just not the truth.
Right. Not at all.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Do you feel like they prepared you well for dating?
Oh, absolutely not. You know, all my parents ever told me about for dating was don't have sex because it's addicting.
It's addicting?
Yes, they did. That's what they say. It's addicting. Once you start, you're never going to want to stop. Wait till you're married.
I've never heard
that. Don't sound like it's gonna prevent somebody. It sounds like it's gonna tip somebody, like coke or something.
Right. Just wait till you're married, and that was about the extent of it. And they need to be a witness.
Yeah,
that's it. They didn't teach me anything else.
It's not really much you learn in general about dating, besides not real life dating, but find a servant or a pioneer. But that's pretty much it. Learning the opposite sex. Besides, if you the man, make sure she a good witness and give comments.
Right.
And if you a woman, make sure you're there for his talks. Like that's about it.
For a woman, they have you looking for all the all those one qualities that are in that one scripture.
Yes.
You know, Proverbs. Is it Proverbs 31?
I'm not
I
sure.
think it is. It's like to be a Proverbs 31 woman. That's the only thing I remember. You know, the only reason I know that scripture is because I remember them talking about it one time at the convention. And back then I was on Twitter, and I remember that was like one of my pinned tweets was like Proverbs 31.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I'm looking for, okay?
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. They don't teach you much though. And that it makes the navigating life, if you do leave, difficult. It's like you literally have to rewire your brain and reprogram yourself.
For sure. Definitely a process once you leave.
Yeah. So you ended up going back.
Right, at 19. Mm-hmm.
Okay. When was that video sent to you?
Last year.
Oh.
Ooh, I got one. What was it like coming back?
Yeah, that's good.
It was still strange because I was a single mom at that point. So I had already been disfellowshipped. That's one mark on you. Now you're a single mom. That's 2 marks against you. You know,
not married.
Right. So it was strange. People still weren't really talking to me that much. You know, I had a few older sisters trying to, you know, help me out, but for the most part, I was still isolated.
Yeah.
You know.
People got their nose up.
People, kids my age, of course, weren't hanging out with me because I'm a mom now.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Did you ever feel like you got to actually express who you were? Did you know who you were?
Absolutely not. The one time I tried to express myself, I got pulled back into the back room. So, no, never.
That's crazy.
And that makes it so hard to make connections whenever you don't know who it is that you are. You don't know how to express yourself. Right. That makes things very, very difficult, I feel like. And that's what happens a lot of times in the religion.
For sure.
Especially if you don't have anybody to help you kind of navigate, you know, different things. Right. It's like you don't get to find yourself.
Right.
Yeah. You don't belong. You always feel kind of like you don't belong. And you feel like it's your fault for not belonging.
Yeah. Right. So you're like, okay, maybe I just need to go out and feel service more, comment more, so I seem more spiritual and people feel like I'm good association. All that.
And feel like I'm valuable here. Yeah, because it's nothing is ever like good enough. Even if you are doing your 10 hours of service and all, like
do more.
Yeah.
Always do more. Oh, you got a part on the Kingdom Hall, and are you gonna help build the new Kingdom Hall? No,
like I don't want to.
For real, like I enjoyed the talk. Like no, you didn't. Like don't nobody enjoy these talks. It's the same thing over and over.
Literally. Yeah. Oh gosh, and then you came back in raising a kid now.
Yeah.
Young.
Yep, at 19, trying to figure it out. You know, I was showing him the Caleb and Sophia videos. I was trying to read all of the my Bible book of stories, all that, but it never felt right because I'm like, I just wanted to be a kid.
Yeah.
Why am I forcing him to watch these things?
It's indoctrination. So, you were taught that was the best way to raise a kid. So, but it didn't feel right.
No, it didn't feel
because you're like, I didn't feel accepted. I don't want my baby to feel like this.
Right.
Yeah. You want him to fit in everywhere as a kid,
or at least find himself so he doesn't feel like he needs to fit in. You know?
Right. There was one video in particular, you know, the Caleb and Sophia video where it's the birthday and he's got the cupcake.
Yes.
And he's like trying to get the cupcake.
Yeah.
I remember showing that to my son and I was like, I don't care if you eat
You got disfellowshipped around the time that Prodigal Son Returns video came out. Oh God. That is it though, because I just remember your experience is like that's exactly what they were thinking of, you know, when they made that.
Pretty much.
Okay, so once you like woke up from it, tell us the process of what happened like after that.
Okay, so once I got the XJW video, that was a journey.
Yeah,
still is a journey. I remember I was sitting on the bedroom floor. I don't know why. I was just on the floor watching the video, and literally I was like, and then YouTube shows you all the recommended videos, and I was like, I need to see more. So I just kept watching and I kept watching, and literally when I tell you, my whole body was just like in shock, like literally, because I never knew any of this. I never knew any of that stuff.